Yeah, very good evening to all of you. Allow the time, we will start in just 2 minutes. So, very good evening once again. Let me give the brief introduction about our today GST expert, Sri Ganeshan Kalyani ji from Mumbai. By profession, he is a law graduate, looking into the only GST mainly. Earlier, he were into the VAT and the CST as well as service tax. He has the exposure in various GST return, refund mechanism, audit, assessment, and appeal. Automation GST return, e-invoice, e-way bill. He has wrote multiple articles in the Tax Management India online tax updates, tax guru, and he is also one of the expert in the TMI discussion forum. Very nice. And sir is believe in the sharing the knowledge, and we are very happy to have Ganeshan sir on our educating platform today. Welcome, sir. I think, sir, you can mute YouTube.
Yeah. The options, 1 second.
So the question will start in 2-3 minutes. As well as substance. He has the exposure in. So I have clicked on unmute. Kindly unmute, sir, so that we can start the discussion.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay.
So, sir, any specific point which you like to share or which you like to start? So now we know that the upcoming annual return for the composition, I should not say what the annual return, the return annually, which is to be going to be filed as a GSTR4. I know the user, you might have the experience in the previous years. So there was a negative liability register, negative cash ledger, something like that. The various problem was happened in the past. With respect to, I'm talking about the composition dealer. So with specifically table 6 of the GSTR4. So my request to every user, kindly double check before filing the GSTR4, that to be table 6, so that this type of the problem which we have come across in the previous year will not be repeated. So, sir, I like to discuss, I like to start one thing, that the people are, see, what is the, I would like to ask that what should be the action point or specific care while filing the return? Because multiple times we have seen the notices only on the basis of the mistake in the GST returns. So could you highlight any 1 or 2 points so that we can tell the user that please do not do the mistake, such type of the mistake?
So section of the GST says that that liability which we are making payment, it has to be self-assessed, and the ITC is also has to be self-assessed by the taxpayer. So it is the books of account which is final, and the taxpayer has to arrive at the liability by reconciliation and for proper accounting. they have to refer the books, and the liability has to be correctly accrued, because it is self-assessed liability, as well as the ITC is also there, which has to be self-assessed.
Right, sir.
So thorough reconciliation to be done before reporting that turnover or liability into the return, because once we upload the return or file the return, that is the detail which is available with the department. So we have to be thorough because we have the books as well.
Absolutely correct. Sir has correctly told that it is a self-assessment. The first we have to file, and because I have seen multiple notices in current period, what they are doing, basically the officer are doing the checking of the various table of GSTR1, 3B, 9, and 9C. You should be thorough about how these interlinking is being done. Okay. Then only we can say that at least you may avoid such type of the returns. Like say, simple example, you all know that let's say I have the file tax liability of rupees 10 in the GSTR1. Kindly ensure the same tax liability has been reported and paid in the 3B. With respect to ITC, we also know. Sometime we have seen the input tax credit. The people are wrongly reported in any other field, like input service distributor, instead of the all other ITC. So these are the various small type of the mistakes which users should avoid for getting these notices. Unnecessarily, you will get these notices and you will spend the good time on the litigation. Unnecessary, I would use the word. Meanwhile, let me start with the question. Tax Club 111. Sir, if registered person not filing GSTR4, then there would be late fees. See, we know that the late fees has been rationalized from 1 June 2021, right now GSTR4. So you have to pay the late fees, because we all know the filing of the return is mandatory, whether you have the tax liability or not have the tax liability. Correct. You have to file the nil return. Right, Ganeshan sir?
Yes, sir. So liability is there in terms of late fees has to be filed if the return has not been filed.
Correct. You are able to see the question, right? Just asking.
Yes, sir. I'm able to see. Yeah.
Okay. Amol, sir, what will be the consequence when the one GST transfer the part business to the new distinct regarding due to the internal reason with the disputes? Whether the above activity is transfer of the business as a going concern, which is exempted, and will the same attract the reversal of ITC under Rule 42-43. Amolji, question is good, no doubt. Would you like to, sir, have some light on this? I'll add, and then you can add also.
Fine, sir.
So we all know that the transfer on a going concern basis, as per Schedule 2, Para 4, Clause C. Okay. So the transfer of the liability on a going concern basis, either entire business or a part thereof, would be considered as exempt supply. But point to be noted, you will not take entire liability as exempt for the purpose of the reversal. See, what is the point which I like to highlight, Amol sir? That there has to be some common ITC. There has to be some common ITC. If yes, so you can say, yes, some ITC related to the taxable part and some ITC related to the transfer of that business. I'm not saying any ITC of the transfer of the business, because you can transfer through ITC 02. We all know the ITC can be transferred through ITC 02. But only point, if for transfer activity, there is some ITC that need reversal of the 42-43. Otherwise, you can't say, let's say I have the ITC of X amount in the month in which I'm doing the return. So I have to reverse that. No, that would not be the case if there is common ITC first, and which is as per 17 subsection 2 applicable to the taxable as well as exempt.
Yes, sir, exactly. ITC has to be there, which is eligible. Then only its transfer would be questioned. If it is exempt, then there is no ITC to be transferred to the new company as a going concern.
So I'm moving to the next question. Ashwin Thakkar ji, GST registration cancelled suo moto basis. एक minute. GST registration cancelled suo moto. Ab initio no business till date. Now, if want to revocation the cancellation, how much period return required to be filed or filed GST return and applied for new one? Sir, both features are available. If you have the time limit of 90 days, if want to suo moto, I'm assuming you mean to say that it is cancelled by the proper officer. If it is being cancelled by the proper officer, then you have the time limit of 30 plus 30 plus 30, 90 days. Currently, the time limit has been extended of 180 plus 90, approx 270 days. But the changes of the Finance Act 23 is yet to be implemented. Okay, the day when it will be notified now, then no problem. You have the 270 days. Second option, you have already told that file the GST return and apply the new one. Angesh Agrawal ji, by mistake in the GSTR1 last month data with current month in the month of Feb 23, taxpayer is transporter. Please guide for correct in this. Not clear, sir. I would request Angesh ji, please retype your question because there are a lot of questions. So मैं spend नहीं करूंगा time आपके क्वेश्चन को अंडरस्टैंड करने में. बाय हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट आप एक बार वापस पोस्ट कीजिए थोड़ा सा, ठीक है ना. मुझे जो समझ में आ रहा है अंगेश जी, आपका डुप्लीकेट हो गया डेटा. इज इट द केस कि मार्च वाला जो डेटा था GSTR1 का, सॉरी लास्ट मंथ मतलब जनवरी का जो डेटा था वो आपने फरवरी में वापस ऐड कर दिया, डबल ऐड कर दिया? अगर ऐसा पॉइंट है एक बार कंफर्म कर दीजिए. विल शेयर अवर व्यू. प्रवीण सोलंकी जी पूछ रहे हैं सप्लायर नॉट फाइल द 1 and 3 कैन रिसीवर अवेल द ITC क्रेडिट. सर योर व्यू.
Yeah. So the condition which is given under section 16, which provide for eligibility and condition, in that subsection says that supplier has to file the GSTR1. That is one of the condition. So without that, the invoices on which ITC to be availed to the recipient, it will not populate. So section 16, subsection 2AA clause, it says that supplier has to upload the GSTR1 and it has to be communicated to the recipient. So if the supplier doesn't file GSTR1 and 3B actually, then recipient cannot claim ITC.
Very true, sir. Very true. So I'll perfectly answer. So I'm moving to the next question. Praveen Solanki ji, if you have the counter question, kindly ask. So next is Tirukumaran ji. Please let me know the GST implication for reimbursement invoice raised to the abroad customer. See, if you satisfy all the condition of Rule 33, that is the pure agent. In that case, we can say the reimbursement would be having a reimbursement, value of the reimbursement would be excluded for the purpose of the GST. I can say there is no GST. If you are not satisfied the condition of Rule 33, like I'll tell you one thing, that you are not making any markup, okay, the liability of that expenditure is of the customer, then you can ignore. But the problem is, Tirukumaran ji, the problem is section 15 subsection 2 clause C. Why it says that any incidental expenditure including parking or commission which you are collecting from your customer, etc., including word, it is not limited to these two expenditure. So if I am adding in the invoice and collecting from customer, then I have to charge the GST including this collection, including this incidental collection. So any point which you like to add, Ganeshan sir?
Yes, sir. So this is as a reimbursement. There is no reimbursement as such in GST except the pure agent concept which I just explained. So this will be added, or it will be considered as an export itself, because reimbursement from the customer, it is as good as connected to the export itself.
Fine. So receiving all ready-made payment to the supplier. Okay. I think this question is being answered. Let me take the question of Sandeep Tomar ji. Notification 3/2023 extend the revocation 2018 से GSTR भी पेंडिंग है. मैंने जिसकी रिवोकेशन फाइल कर दिया, जो पोर्टल में ओपन हो जाएगा, तो क्या मुझे इसका इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट? बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है ये, सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है संदीप जी. Ganeshan sir, you can correct me, that they have only extended the time limit of, let's say, revocation, or sometime they are extending the time limit, or they are reducing the late fees only. But it doesn't mean they have increased the time limit for ITC. तो आपको ITC नहीं मिलेगा. Any point which you like to add?
Yes, sir. Because the ITC condition which is given section 16, it will be restricted. It will not be given for this revocation. That is only for the revocation of number and not the ITC. The limit of ITC will still be there.
Correct, sir. Very true. So Amol ji is saying, in the above case, the real estate project is under all tax rate. So with ITC wala, and ITC is available throughout the year, and further project is 60% completed, not only booked in old GSTN. Okay. See, on this transfer, there is no problem. So the above discussion would continue. That transfer would be exempted. No reversal would come into the picture. Okay. They can transfer the ITC also to that extent. The only point I think probably, आपका क्वेश्चन क्या है सीएमओ जी? आप मुझे थोड़ा और क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं, क्योंकि आपका अभी सेकंड पार्ट में मुझे थोड़ा सा कुछ नया पॉइंट लग रहा है. ठीक है ना? Manju ji, I am registered under GST as a wholesale trader, plastic automobile part. Now am planning to sell through vehicle movement. How should I raise the bill above mentioned transaction? So, sir, you like to say something in this? कि principal place से नहीं sale कर रहे, they are making the sale through this particular. You can see the question, right? Huh? In my view, they can.
Yes, sir.
In my view, they can make the document. See, either they will keep the. See, the point is, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Manju ji is saying, you are registered as wholesale trader, plastic automobile part. Now I'm planning to sell through vehicle movement. So let's say I'm assuming that you are keeping the goods in the vehicle, and let's say you are selling the same through vehicle instead of from principal place of business. First, when you are moving the goods, it should be the delivery challan and supported by e-way bill for the total quantity if it is exceed 50,000. Second, though there are one possibility that you may make you may carry the bill ka copy, tax invoice ka copy at the same time, and you can issue the tax invoice when you are making the sale. Third, that instead of if not possible to make the invoice at that point of time, so what happen? You can give the delivery. You have the delivery challan. So while returning the sale, once you reach to your wapas principal place of business, at that point of time, you can issue the tax invoice, and while returning the goods, ensure to make the inward e-way bill. So this is, I could understand. So anything which you like to add, Ganeshan sir?
I fully agree, sir, because at the time of taking the goods along with the vehicle, the sale is not determined. Even the customer would not have been identified. So
Right.
it is the delivery challan based on which the goods has to be taken. And as and when the sale happens in the transit or in the market where they are displaying the goods with the vehicle, the sale actually happens. The invoice can be raised at that point of time.
So the delivery challan would be the document on the basis of which it will be moved.
Yeah, because it would be taxable taxable goods. For moving, since it is not a supply, so delivery challan is a document, and based on that, e-way bill is also should be accompanied.
So Manju ji is saying once again, sir. Okay, fine. Let me repeat. So let's say today morning, I have kept the goods in my vehicle and moving to the various location. So when I'm removing the goods from my location, I will make the delivery challan and supported by e-way bill if value exceed the threshold limit. Then let's say I have reached to one location and I have sold, let's say 10 quantity. I have the two option. I can carry that invoice book, bill book. At the same time, I can issue the tax invoice for the 10 quantity. Let's say I am on next counter, I am selling the 20 more quantity. Same process I will do. And in the evening, I am coming with the balance 30 quantity. First, you will ensure to make the inward e-way bill for this 30 quantity on the basis of the delivery challan. You have to make the new delivery challan because the same invoice number would, same document number would not be accepted. Then, if you have not made the tax invoice at the same time, so second option, once you reached to the factory or to your principal place of business, you can issue the invoice at that point of time. Rule 55, sub rule 4 allow us to issue the invoice even after delivery. So that is my point. Sir, there is one genuine mistake. Ganeshan sir, I would like to
Yes,
say that please give the suggestion. Last month, GSTR1 ka data has been again punched in the current month GSTR1. So what to do?
sir, there is no revision provision of GSTR1. So the only option is in the subsequent month, the same can be rectified. So if the invoice of January is already furnished in February, so there is twice, the data has been uploaded twice. In the subsequent month, that is March month GSTR1, both the details, I mean the one detail which is correctly uploaded, that is okay. The same detail in February which is uploaded has to be shown as a credit note in the March month GSTR1 so that it gets netted out. February, the wrongly uploaded in February, that will be get netted out in the March month GSTR1 when we show as a credit note.
Perfect, perfect. So agreed with the suggestion given by Ganeshan sir. So first, when you are filing the FAB 23, because you have furnished all the data of the GSTR1 of January as well, probably it should not take. See, if you ask me, it should not take because the duplicate invoice number will not be accepted by the system. But let's say it is accepted because of B2C or because of some any special category like dash, slash, or add something like that. Then what I would suggest that while filing the GSTR 3B, reduce the liability because it is double liability in the GSTR 1 for the month of the Feb. So please reduce the liability to the extent of Feb only you should keep and pay. Now there would be the difference, obviously. As Ganeshan sir told that when you file the next month GSTR 1, please put the amendment and report the netting off. So please put the amendment. You can use the table 9A, table 10, etc. and do the amendment. So I hope your question is answered, Angeshji. If not, then you can confirm or raise the counter question. GST registration number cancelled by the department as per the latest notification time. Nahi. So Praveen ji, the latest time limit we have to wait for Finance Act 2023 to come into the picture. As of now, all the provision of the Finance Act is not yet notified. The separate notification will be issued. So we have to wait. We have to wait. One work contractor supplying the service, okay, and plant and machinery to the client. Okay, normal place of the supply, normal place of supply rule would be applicable. Amolji is asking the question. Taxpayer has 5 projects under the parent company from 17-18 in 2020 has obtained new distinct registration and billing the said 5 project under the new 5 GST. With the billing the said 5 project under new GSTN, and will it be with the old scheme or new scheme? Is this schedule 1 supply, is this exempted supply, and what about ITC? See, now this is an exempt supply, point number 1, because it is transferred on a going concern basis. So no taxability of the schedule 1. So you cannot read that it is a supply by one distinct person to the another. And if it is a going concern basis transfer, again, I can say there is no reversal of ITC would come into the picture. Rajesh Deshpandeji, if agent paid on behalf of the product registered charges in other country, and he issued his invoice with actual government paid charges, in this case, whether RCM is applicable on the entire bill or excluding government fees. So my point is, again, Rajesh Deshpandeji, if you can ensure that it is pure, he is working in the pure agent capacity, because you are saying the government fees, so it would be the actual reimbursement. There would be no markup. Correct. Then I can say it should be excluded from the value. It should be excluded from the value as per the rule 33. And because it is excluded, so there is no question of a reverse charge would come into the picture. This is my view. You may raise any other counter question. So, Advocate Sandeep ji, मैंने गुड़गांव में रजिस्टर्ड हूं, मेरी एक ब्रांच जयपुर में है, पर वो रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है, मुझे अपना गुड्स जयपुर अपनी ब्रांच में भेजना है सेल्फ यूज के लिए. सॉरी सर, कैन यू टेक मतलब सी इफ यू फील मतलब कि कोई भी क्वेश्चन जो विच यू लाइक टू टेक, आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट टू टेक. मीनवाइल यू कैन रीड एनी क्वेश्चन एंड देन इमीडिएटली जंप इनटू. You are not required to wait for me. ठीक है. You can read any question which you like to answer. I would welcome. I would. Okay,
fine.
You say for example.
In the same query which you have read out, I think, sir, any supply, any good supplied from one branch to another is a supply. It is for not a personal use. So, if it is considered as a business transaction, then definitely registration would be required in the Jaipur branch, because they are specifically mentioned as a Jaipur branch. So, movement of goods or stock transfer, we can say, from Gurgaon branch to the Jaipur branch. So, it would be a stock transfer, which is actually a supply in GST, and GST would be applicable. But again, he is saying that it is for personal use. So, personal use, we can say, from Gurgaon point of view, it will be a goods given away as free or a gift. So section 17, which can be applicable to this also, because goods given away as free, which is not taxable, but corresponding ITC has to be reversed on that.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. So fully agree that if you are transferring for the personal purpose, value exceeding 50,000, you need to make the e-way bill, point number 1. Okay. And because it is being personal use, sir has correctly told that as per 17 subsection 5, it is block credit, you have to reverse your ITC. Simran Sire. In aggregate turnover of the previous year column in the GSTR 4, sir, turnover of which year need to be mentioned in the aggregate turnover of the previous year column in the GSTR 4? Last financial year, it means if we are furnishing 22-23, so it will be 21-22. So I would suggest that once this video would be uploaded, kindly ask the same question in the comment section. I will reconfirm, because GSTR 4 is to some extent, I can say I will recheck, because tomorrow is the last date, so you will be more comfortable. Amolji, and the number of the project is completed and non-GST project are not fully booked under old GST and or new GST is again. Amolji, I would suggest you have a lot of question, and probably you are member. If you are member, then I would say kindly raise the question in the WhatsApp group. And there are a lot of query which appear, and it's appear to be very serious query, means because you have asked multiple times the multiple components. So you can raise the query in the WhatsApp group. We will definitely handle. Ravinder ji, kindly tell RCM applicability on the freight paid to the transporter. LLP paying to unregistered transporter. Also answer if freight is exempted from tax like transportation of agriculture produce, rice. Sir, any point which you like to tell, Ganeshan sir?
Yeah, transportation of goods by road by GTA, Goods Transport Agency, is covered under RCM. the recipient has to pay the GST on behalf of transporter. And there are exemptions also given for agriculture produce. And agriculture produce is also defined as a goods as a produce from agriculture with where no further process has been done. So here rice is mentioned. So it is assumed that this is a agriculture produce only, but in exemption notification, some amendment was made. Certain items, certain product was specifically given excluded from the exemption. So that will have to be checked, and then I can come back to you on that point. So I will reply on this chat only.
So fine. So as correctly told that the transaction is fall under RCM, Ravinderji, and the recipient has to pay the tax and the reverse charge. It is immaterial whether transporter is registered or not registered, because 9 subsection 3, it is not giving any importance to the status of the supplier for this GTA category. Serial number 21 of exemption notification 12/2017, as you as sir correctly told that yes, there are certain exemption like agriculture produce is exempted, and if the particular transportation services are exempted, I'm not saying that goods are exempted. See, make one difference, that exemption of the goods is something different and exemption of the GTA service is something different. There is no correlation. So we cannot say if the goods are exempted, then GTA service would always be exempted, or vice versa. We cannot say if the goods are taxable, the GTA service would always be taxable. No, it's not the case. It depends. Okay, so for GTA service, you have to refer serial number 21 of exemption notification and assume that your GTA service ka exemption is covered in that serial number. In that case, you are not required to pay the tax in the RCM. Biswajit Datta, sir, I generate the wrong invoice bill and goods delivered by e-way bill. Now can I change invoice? क्या टाइप का मिस्टेक है? मतलब wrong invoice bill typing typically क्या मिस्टेक है विश्वजीत? मतलब क्या टाइप का मिस्टेक है? नंबर गलत डाला है या क्या गलती बताओ, उसके हिसाब से फिर मैं आपको करेक्शन सजेस्ट करूंगा, ठीक है ना? नीलेश अग्रवाल जी, recent notification time limit 7 days. By this can I apply material without invoice generating same day? Avoid that. But yes, suppose I have generated, so I can say one thing as per the provisions. As per the provision, it is very clear. Your invoice should be e-invoice. Correct. But sometimes mistake is possible now, or there is some gap in the process is possible. So suppose you have not generated the invoice with IRN QR code, then they are giving post facto ki theek hai, you can make it within 7 days, it will be deemed to be compliant. But otherwise, if it is not changed in the process, so I can say this 7 days ka relaxation would be taken only for the transaction for which you not made the compliance. Okay. Probably in the time to come, 7 days would be probably reduced, or it will be extended to the other taxpayer also. Correct. So I would say that as a regular practice, you should make the invoice with IRN and QR code only. Plus, suppose you are not made and the goods has been inspected during the transit, then I feel it will not be attracted by section 129, 130 merely because you do not have the e-invoice. I hope it is clear. Sir, would you like to add something for the e-invoicing part?
E-invoicing, so far the invoice, tax invoice which is raised as per section 31 has to be, if the turnover is more than 10 crore, then e-invoice is applicable. So without that, tax invoice is an invalid document. So transportation of goods has to be made with the valid invoice having IRN and QR code. And now there is a restriction from 1st of May that it has to be generated within 7 days. Up till now, there was no time period. So now from 1st of May, it is very mandatory to generate the IRN within 7 days. Hope it is clear. Sir, I would like to come back to the question of Ravinder Singh.
Please, please, please.
Yeah. So meanwhile, I've just checked whether rice transportation of goods by way of goods transport agency of rice particularly, it is still exempt, sir. Via the notification number 12 of 2017 CTR. So it is still exempt.
Fine. Thank you.
Yes.
So you mean to say Angesh ji has added one point, but the taxpayer is the it's transporter. Taxpayer, it's transporter. अंगेश जी, अगर टैक्स पे ट्रांसपोर्टर है तो आपकी लाइबिलिटी तो क्रिएट नहीं होगी क्योंकि आरसीएम वाला इनवॉइस होगा, राइट ना? तो आप नेक्स्ट मंथ सिंपल अमेंड कर देना, दैट्स इट. एनी अदर पॉइंट व्हिच यू लाइक टू ऐड अंगेश जी, तो आप ऐड कीजिए.
Yeah, so far taxpayer transporter or GTA, if is not opting to pay tax under forward charge, so it is only a disclosure in GSTR1. Under RCM, whether yes or no, he has to mention. So there's no liability as such on the GTA who is not opting for payment of tax under forward charge. I think Angesh ji can add on further query.
Yes, Pal ji, sir, GST client doing the transaction in the CC and the current account and there is no sale. What will be the impact? Doing the transaction का मतलब क्या है? Suppose वो transaction अगर business nature का है, क्या transaction? Cash withdrawal करना, deposit करना, वो transaction या किस type का transaction, वो थोड़ा बताएं. एंड अगर सेल या बिजनेस ट्रांजेक्शन नहीं है तो जीएसटी नहीं होगा, क्योंकि जीएसटी तभी होगा जब वो ट्रांजेक्शन सप्लाई हो. बट हाँ, यहाँ पे क्या हो सकता है? यस पाल जी, यू मे रिसीव द इंक्वायरी फ्रॉम द ऑफिसर बाय सेइंग दैट यस, एज पर द योर बैंक अकाउंट यू आर डूइंग सम ट्रांजेक्शन बट देयर इज नो रिटर्न हैविंग रिपोर्टेड कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग लाइबिलिटी. तो आपको एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ सकता है. बट इफ यू आर श्योर दैट इट इज नॉट द बिजनेस ट्रांजेक्शन, then in my view it is not a problem. Right, Ganeshan sir, can you please add on this point?
Yeah. So Yashpal ji is saying that transaction CC and current account and there is no sales business transaction, what will be the impact? So actually in GST there is only two things. One is supply of goods and another is supply of service. So here both the things are missing, I think. There is no sale or business transaction. So there is suspicious or that kind of a thing comes. So that would be only a transaction, but there is no supply of goods or services.
Correct.
Yeah, or Yashpal might not have written the complete query. Maybe he can put the question again.
Please.
Yeah.
So Biswajit ji has asked one question regarding that he has generated the invoice. Let's say bill number. He should write the bill number 101, but wrongly write 100 number. Let's say. He has made the e-way bill, he has made the invoice e-way bill, and now can he correct the invoice number? So what do you think, sir? This is
invoice number, sir. Actually, there is a provision also for minor mistake. So minor mistake connected to e-way bill, where transport vehicle number, if it is 1 digit or 2 digit, it is mistake that can be rectified. But I think invoice number itself is a wrong invoice, typically mistake. So here I can add that invoice and the e-way bill are two different things. E-way bill is required for the movement of goods. Still we can correct the invoice. And that can be correlated with the invoice, saying that there was a typographical mistake.
I fully agree that you may correct the same in the GSTR1, right, sir?
Yeah, in GSTR1.
In the GSTR1, you may correct the same, and even though you have reported something other invoice number in the e-way bill, so I won't find any big trouble. So you may correct.
Yes, the main thing is that there should not be any wrong intention or something. It should be the mistake should be genuine. So GST officer can agree to that also. The mistake has happened without any wrong intention.
Right. So any other question which you like to have, any participant have kindly raised?
Nilesh, she has raised a query. Recently, notification for e-invoice time limit of 7 days.
Answer.
Yeah, by this, can I supply material without e-invoice generating same day? Sir, it is not advisable, as we already said, that at the time of removal of goods, means when the goods is leaving the factory premises, valid invoice has to be there. Valid invoice, now that the e-invoice has come, without e-invoice, that tax invoice is not valid. So if it is detained or if it is caught in between, it can be questioned, sir. Still that they have given the 7 period time, but certainly there is a risk of the vehicle being detained. So it is strongly advised that while moving the goods from the factory. Sir, would you like to add something, sir?
Sir, correct. I fully agree with you. And Rajesh Deshpande has asked another question. We are applicable e-invoice and the QR from day one, and all invoicing done with e-invoice properly, but only some debit credit note are unable to generate IRN due to some technical issue, system issue. Will be any issue to us and the recipient? Sir, there may be the possibility. Please raise the ticket. So what happen if in future there is a problem? You can support the same, that because of the technical issue you won't be able to generate. It is always advisable, because the ticket would support you from any unnecessary litigation or any type of this point.
Yeah. Sir, I would like to take this, Rajesh Sasya. See, still, since the implication, the time limit of 7 days is only effective from 1st of May, the credit note or the debit note which you have, which could not be generated IRN in the previous period, you can generate it now also. And if there is any technical issue in the government portal for generating debit note or credit note, you can raise a ticket in the self-service portal. So they would address your technical problems and they will solve it, so that you can generate IRN for debit note and credit note also.
Perfect. Yespalji is saying, if labor supply to the medical college and receive the commission, GST will be leviable. 100% yes. Just I would request Yespalji, because it is not possible to remember all the exemption notification, maybe skipped. I fully agree. So just download the latest notification 12/2017 and check whether it is anywhere covered in the exemption. To the extent of my knowledge, it is not covered anywhere, because healthcare services are exempt, but not all the services are exempt. Okay, their inward supply would be definitely taxable. So, and specifically commission is तो कभी taxable, कभी exempt था ही नहीं मेरे हिसाब से. So Yespal ji, I would only suggest that he check the exemption notification for services, and it will not be there in my view. And if it is not there, in that case, it will be taxable and correct. Sir, can you like to take the GST ITCs available on the transportation vehicle for the staff?
Yeah, sir, yes. This Kamlesh Dave's here query you are asking, right? Some CA has put a video asking to buy car and GST ITC claiming as.
So with the due respect to the profession, we are not commenting any contrary, or we are not against any person, because we have not seen the video also. But yes, you have asked the question whether ITC would be available on the transportation of staff if I purchase the car. So Ganeshan sir.
Yeah. So in this case, there is a restriction under section 17, that is I block the credit, where it says the car which is having a seating capacity up to 13 seater is not eligible for ITC. So straight away here, there is no, even for staff or anything, ITC is not eligible, sir.
So done from your side, right?
Yeah, done.
So Kamleji, absolutely correct. Sir has told that if it is up to 13 seater, you can't take the ITC, even it is for business purpose. Now, in the 17 subsection 5 clause A, there are 3 exceptions. If you are using that motor vehicle for further supply, if you are using for the transportation of passenger, and if you have the imparting the training instructor driving school, then only you can take the ITC. So is it because if you are using the word staff, then I would not say that it will be treated as transportation of passenger. You can't claim because that is not your outward taxable supplies. Suppose I'm, let's say I'm doing the business X, and if I'm using for the transportation of my staff, it is a business expenditure. I do agree, ITC not available, but it will not fall in that exception. The ITC up to 13 सीटर का ITC कब मिलेगा जब वो 3 एक्सेप्शन में किसी में फॉल कर रहा है तो दैट इज माय कमली जी यू कैन रेज द काउंटर क्वेश्चन इफ यू हैव राजेश जी मैं एक सजेस्ट करूंगा कि अगर आपका प्रॉब्लम एसएपी में है ना तो एक बार गवर्नमेंट पोर्टल से ट्राई करो प्लीज ट्राई फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट पोर्टल एंड एटलीस्ट लेट्स चेक कि whether you would be able to generate or not because might be the technical issues of that GST only will be accepted by the government in future if you have any litigation. But ideally, yes, this is under litigation because your debit note and credit note should be with the e-invoice only. If there is technical error in your accounting software, I would suggest try with a government software. If not, then raise that ticket. It would be my suggestion.
Sir, I would like to add further on that.
Please.
Just you ensure debit note or credit note is having GST also. Sometimes the SAP provides a restriction as per the configuration made that only when GST credit note or debit note is only liable for generating IRN. So SAP might be giving that error, or if the error is not this and something else, then if you have the GSPs are also there for a big company. If you are having SAP means your company will be big. So GST Suvidha provider portal will be there. You can directly put your details, fill your details in the GSP and then try to generate, which is connected with the government portal. Or as suggested by Sir Arun Sir, you can directly log into government portal. You can generate. That is the best solution Sir has given.
So last question for the day. Then we will conclude our today discussion. Is RCM applicable on the government service? Service means is we are liable to pay the RCM on the road tax, MPCB fees. So if there is a tax, then there is not a means it is not a service. You are not required to pay the RCM. Define government service and tax. See, so government service. Yeah, sir. Please add.
Yeah, sir. I think here there is an exemption also because if it is a sovereign function of the state. Means this government would be giving this service like a road tax or MPCB fees. So I think it would be as a sovereign function. If they are performing, then that would be an exemption. So RCM will not be applicable.
Correct.
So, yeah.
So very true that RCM would not be applicable if it is a service. Like you can take an example of like that there is a royalty ka payment. So one side we know that there is itself a big argument whether royalty is a tax or whether royalty is a service. But taxes will never be considered as a service. Okay, as correctly told by Ganeshan sir, that there is a differentiation and the taxes would be already in exemption category. You can check the exemption notification also 12/2017. But it will not be come under RCM. So this is our view. So I would thanking each one of you for joining this live discussion and making the live discussion very successful. And also I like to share the, I like to say the regard and thanks to the Ganeshan sir for sharing the valuable input and advising to the member who has raised the concern. So thanking Ganeshan sir, and we can conclude our today webinar. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you, Arun sir. You are invited and I am delighted for that. And I also thank each of the queries attendees who have asked the questions. And it is my first webinar, as I already told you. And thank you for this great opportunity, sir. And before concluding, just a small tip from myself to all the viewers that claiming of input tax credit is a big question. So there is a books of account which you are maintaining. So keep that books of account very correctly and claim ITC only when it is appearing in GSTR 2A, 2B, now it is 2B, and keep a proper reconciliation every month. So do not claim credit which is not appearing in 2B, otherwise there would be an interest. So this is my tip to you all. And month on month you can check that e-invoice also. Those who are having turnover more than 10 crore, e-invoice also you have to take care because without that the invoice is not valid. The recipient may also face the issue because when it is not a valid invoice, based on that he can also not take credit. So dual problem is there. I hope you will follow this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much to all of you. So we are